Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Listen, more Chelsea news for all of you. You thought it was quiet? No, never a quiet day at Chelsea. I'm joined by Kev today, so thanks for coming on, Kev. Listen, we're going to go through all of the news regarding Chelsea's financial situation. We're also going to talk about Estavao, who's been smashing records in Brazil. And he's had some great praise from none other than the man who had the record just before him, Neymar. And then we're going to delve into all of the other topics regarding Chelsea, including Nicholas Jackson, the goalkeeping situation, Jorgensen, and much, much more. But without further ado, Kev, I mean, before we start, mate, I mean, we're going to break down the financials. There's an article which goes into a little bit more detail by Football London. Did you think that we would have issues with the financial side of things, or is this pretty much it's not a surprise to you?
It's not a surprise to me at all. You've gone and spent £1.5 billion in 2 years. What are you expecting? There's going to be some financial burdens that's going to come with that. But the club seems to be running in the right direction, but there's always something that's going to come up and financial fair play and everything else. There's always some kind of hurdle to get over. But, they've got to be more smarter. I think they're talking about building a new ground and this and that. They need to get back in the Champions League and get that £50 million from that first and generate money from player sales and generate money from sponsorship. We haven't even got a proper sponsor on the front of our shirt yet, bro. So just imagine how much money that we're losing compared to the Rome. We haven't got a front of face sponsor. We haven't got Champions League football. That's probably like what, 250 million a year down just through those things, I say. So they've got to at least. So they've got to generate the money. They've got to bring the money in. They can't just spend. We all know with financial fair play, there's got to be something that's going to bite you in the arse, and it looks like it's happening now.
Yeah, well, big up to everyone in the chat as well. I see Ryan, I see right-footed left back as well. Big up to both of you, guys. If you haven't already smashed the like button, we've got about 25 people in it to start off. Can we get up to 25 likes straight away? It does help a lot. So smash that like button if you haven't already. And without further ado, we're going to dive straight into this article, and we're going to break it down piece by piece. Now, this is by. It's by Football London. The article came out yesterday evening. Chelsea's financial losses for the 23-24 period. Where is it? A forecast to increase year on year, according to new data. The Blues have made headlines ever since the takeover of the club by Clearlake Capital and Todd Bowley back in 2022. Supercharged by the club's spending in the transfer market, with over $1 billion committed in transfer fees since the new ownership took charge. So no real surprises as of yet. The main topic, obviously, is what are the losses? What are they going to be? But it's due to increase because of the fact that we're not in the Champions League, like Kev just alluded to earlier. But let's take a deep dive. Now, while a chunk of that spend has managed to be offset by selling players, particularly graduates of the club's Cobham Academy, which represents pure profit from an accounting perspective, as well as selling tangible assets such as hotel, the club's initial thesis of offering 7, 8, and 9-year deals to players to reduce amortization charges on the balance sheet. Heavy losses have followed. Does this surprise you, Kev? And what do you think about? I mean, we're looking at they're talking about the fact that we're selling ourself assets such as hotels, and we were even looking at selling the training ground at one point as well. I mean, do you think that the long contracts are going to serve us as a positive, or is it going to bite us in the arse if we can't get European football?
Going to bite us in the arse.
Champions League football specifically, I suppose.
Bite us in the arse. Simple as that. Can't continue to run a club the way they are. They're literally finding every single loophole possible just to generate profit. But there's going to be a point where it hits hits a wall, let's say, because if you're not selling the players, so the players don't perform, who's going to want to buy the players? You're going to make losses on the players. If you're not getting Champions League football, you're making a loss on that as well. If you're not even getting a sponsorship, like we was talking about getting, what was the sponsorship was getting? I was getting a deal with Qatar Airways, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's a £250 million sponsorship deal there, just there itself. So we need to.
How many years is that spread over?
I think it's 5 years. So that's like 50 million pounds a year. So
yeah.
Why are we not doing the basics as a football club? Just like, I'm not getting it. Like, just get a sponsorship deal for one to generate money.
Well, do you know what it is, Kiv? I'll tell you why. It's because if we were getting about 50 million or close to that from 3, and the other sponsors are not offering anything close to that, and they're probably offering us, let's just say, a 3-year deal at maybe 30 million or 25 million. So if we did end up getting Champions League football, we'd be out of pocket, which is why I think the owners haven't accepted any of those proposals.
Yeah, well, they need to go for, like I said, Qatar Airways is the biggest airline company in the world, one of the biggest airline companies. Oh, that's the level that we should be looking for to get sponsorship money, to generate money for the club. They can't keep thinking they're going to sell bits and bobs of the club, like selling the training ground, selling the hotel, selling this. There's going to be a time where the FIFA and everyone else they clamp down and stuff like this, and they're gonna get fans out. They need to do the correct stuff, like pushing the team to the Champions League for 1, getting a sponsorship deal for 2, and that's just the basics of this football club. After all that is done, maybe we can look to find loopholes, but they're finding loopholes first, and they're not getting the basics right. So that's the reason why we're in this mess, and it was always going to come to this. Did we think this is a sustainable way of running the club? Like literally running stuff on the matter of finding loopholes. It wasn't going to last for long. It wasn't going to last. That's something you do when you're in a stable environment. The club is not stable at the moment. It's very unstable in respect of transfers, finances, management, injury team, across the whole board. It's unstable. So when you're just coming in purely for profit, purely to find loopholes, it's not going to work. And this is why we're seeing stuff like this popping up now.
I'm with you. All right, we'll continue with the article then. So in the 2022-2023 financial year, the club posted a loss of 89.8 million, while the 2021-22 financial year, the loss was 121.3 million, which has meant that Chelsea have had to be cute in managing their finances at a time of heavy spending, with the sale of 2 hotels at Stamford Bridge included in the last accounts, after being approved by the Premier League when it came to fair market value. There has been debates about whether clubs will be able to do this, but listen, we've already done it, so we're ahead of the curve. So if they do ban it, I'll be laughing, because at least we got away with it. 2 days before the end of the 2023-24 financial year, the club moved to sell the women's team internally to an associated holding company, a move that the Premier League will again have to assess and see whether it can aid the club's profit and sustainability position. So that's PSR, something that has been something of a balancing act for the club to manage and stay on the right side of. According to data presented by analysts at the football business website Off the Pitch, which has had a high hit rate when it comes to successfully predicting financial forecasts in recent seasons, Chelsea are on course to see higher losses for the 2023-24 season, with turnover down. Now, the data forecasts, in fact, we'll just go through that quickly, Kev. I mean, PSR, do you think that we handled PSR well? And obviously the hotel is a part of that. But also, a lot of the players that we got rid of, we sold Hutchinson, we sold Maatson, we sold Gallagher. These are all players that we got pure profit for. Ultimately, it was heavily criticised, but I think that when people look at it from this perspective, which the owners are, it's an accounting perspective, you could probably understand why we did those. We were almost forced into doing it because of the amount that we initially invested.
Yeah, we all know, Alex, have done it the wrong way around. They've done the model has been done the wrong way around, and the model has been created for success within a period of time, and it's not necessarily going to happen. Who used to say that we're going to get in top four with youngsters? Who used to say that these young Brazilian talents are going to come and produce when we could have just kept the same kind of model with winning players on the pitch and then slowly built up in the background the youth talents and everything else? They've gone and brought all these new players, and what they're expecting is them to turn up and get them top four. It's look, we've been at Champions League for 3 seasons under these owners, and look, people a few weeks ago was getting their hopes up saying we're definitely going to get top four. I'm still like this. You just never know. But irrespective,
I think we'll finish. Right, if I had to guess right now, I'd say exactly the same thing that I said before. I think we finished 5th, which could still be guaranteed Champions League football, depending on how things go in Europe. And the only reason that I hold back on that prediction is because I know if Palmer gets injured, everything's going to change. I know if Lavia gets injured or Reece James gets injured again, everything's going to change. It's all, we have built this team around certain players and they have done very well. Yeah, no doubt about it. Lavia's been fantastic. Palmer's been great. But what if one of those key players gets injured? Who steps up to the plate? Can they step up to the plate? And then you've got to remember, when you've got injuries, what happens to the other players? They end up having to play more. So the cycle repeats itself because of that initial domino effect, especially when we come to the December period. I mean, I think if we can ride out that December wave in terms of keeping our players fit and still picking up results, I think we'll definitely get top four. But until I see that, I can't sit here with chest and say that Chelsea are going to get top four.
Yeah, well, I was feeling very positive up until the Forest game, and I was the thing, take every game as it comes, and we haven't won in the last 2 games. We've got winnable fixtures in front of us. I believe we can beat Panathinaikos and Newcastle in the next 2. So it's just a game-to-game situation. I think we need to get back to winning ways now. I feel like we don't need to be going on a 3rd straight game without winning. I believe that it's time to get back to winning ways and then just take the confidence and build some more momentum going in to the winter period. So it's looking good. It's looking better than last year. But who's just if it's ifs, buts, or maybes? There's no certainties with the Charles team. We all know under the Abramovich, I hate to keep going about it, but we all knew in that era that top 4 was the least we was going to get every season. As trophy was the least we're going to get every season, because we go out and we get quality players that have been there, done it in the Champions League. It's not that anymore. And PSR, they've gone and sold the talents from the youth, which is good. From a business perspective, I understand what they're doing. It's good. Yeah, football's evolved now. It's not the same as it used to be. It's the runners. They're not run as football clubs anymore under these Americans. That it's run as a business. We've got to understand that as fans. I understand that, but at the same time, it's not Brighton. It's not a team where you invest in youths and not invest in winning players, and they've gone and done the wrong thing. And look, the Champions League football, it's clear to see where the money's. That's 50 million. How much is that a year? How much is Champions League football? About 50 million.
We'll go over that in a second. We'll go through it, but it's a large proportion. I mean, before I do read it, guys, if you haven't already, smash the like button, guys. It really does help. Let's see if we can get up to 40 likes. Can we get up to 40 likes, guys? Big up to everyone that's watching. Big up to Cover as well. I hope you're well. And let's get back into it. So the data forecasts that the absence of Champions League football was impactful last season, with turnover predicted to drop from 589. Well, we'll use pounds. I don't know why I'm using euros. We use 400. So it's predicted to drop from 491 million pounds using today's exchange rate to 450.3 million, a drop of 8.3% year on year. So if you miss out on Champions League football 3 years in a row, then you are predicted to lose 20%, over 20% of revenues. So it's, very important. And you can understand why Champions League is such a priority.
So this is the thing though. Do they believe bringing in players? No offense to them, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, Tosin, Viega. Do they think bringing in players of that caliber? I'm not dissing them. I do believe they've got potential, but do they believe bringing in potential will get you Champions League football? No, it don't. Bringing in world-class talents from around Europe will get you that, and that's what Chelsea have always been. So it's he. This is what was happening now. Like, what can they moan about now? It's their own fault for going and thinking the scouting system's good for what they're bringing in, but I don't believe those players will secure the Champions League. I believe that we'll be close or thereabout, but when you're looking at Kieran Dewsbury Hall, he's come from the Championship. Viega's come from the Swiss League. When you're looking at, come on, they're not proven Champions League players. They've never even stepped a foot.
I understand your point, but I don't agree with your point. I think actually those three players, I thought that was really good business. I mean,
good business. But bringing in three players when you could have brought in one quality defender. You bring in three players when you can bring in one. Quality over quantity. There's no point bringing in three or four.
What if that one player gets injured?
That's the three players that came and got injured. I'm sure Dewsbury Hall's got an injury. Doesn't matter. What I'm trying to get to is there's players at the top level of football right now that we could have gone for in the transfer window. If we was really ambitious and we really wanted to secure Champions League football, we would have gone out there and got them players. We would have gone and got players that played in the second division last year. Simple as that, Alex. It's their own fault. You cannot expect to get Champions League football on a minimum wage. Let's say you can't expect it. You got to go out and spend the money on the top players.
Nobody's ever done it before, Kev. But I mean, actually, and it was quite funny. I mean, I think I told you this. Or maybe you weren't there. When I was interviewing someone outside Anfield, Paul Winstanley walked past me, and we locked eyes, and I sort of smiled at him, and he smiled at me, and we gave each other a little nod. I should have said, "Come on, Paul, let's have a word," but I don't know. You know, when you're just sort of, you don't really know what to say, so you don't say anything at all. But I mean, actually, it's not as bad as I thought it would be at this moment in time. I mean, I still haven't said, right, we're going to get top four because, as I alluded to earlier, a couple of injuries could make a big difference. But that you just said Vega, who I think was a great signing at 40 million. We spent nothing on Tosin, and Dewsbury Hall has one thing that no one else in this squad has, which is experience under Maresca in recent times. I know Lavia and Palmer have played under Maresca in youth football, but I mean, Dewsbury Hall was with him last season, so his philosophy
and Tosin's played with him as well.
Oh, there you go. Well, then you go back to the recruitment. So I wouldn't say it was poor recruitment.
It's not Champions League. It's not bad, but it's not Champions League level quality ball.
I think. Do you know what? I think that if you look at the signings we brought in, and there's more signings, Kev. You've only spoken about 3 of them. I think that we've done more than enough in terms of the
good
players.
Good squad players.
Neto?
Neto's one. Neto
Felix as well.
Neto Felix
squad player.
Neto Felix are Champions League players.
Jorgensen in the goalkeeping department.
I haven't seen much of him. But I can't say Neto and Felix are Champions League proven. I don't think Neto's played in the Champions League, but he's got European quality in respective Portugal. So he's that level. But the rest of them are squad players. So we haven't really got to think. No offense to Tosin. I think Tosin's a decent player, but he come from Fulham. He's a mid-table squad player. You got rid of Thiago Silva, Champions League winning centre-back. He's probably been one of the best centre-backs in modern times. Replace him with like for like. Go and get a Jimenez from Atletico Madrid. Go and get a Bastoni from Inter Milan. Go and be ambitious. Get quality. That's what we haven't done. So it's every single all that back four for me. They're all the same. There's not one that stands out for me. I can say, you know what, he's world class. They're all average. Cole, he's got potential to step up to that level this season, but the rest of them are average. So what we're expecting, don't go and get a tossing. Go out there and spend your £15 million and go and get a Bastoni. Go and get a world-class player, and the ambition will show through, and then we'll be challenged for Champions League because you've got the players to do it.
Well, I don't disagree with the player like Bastoni. I think he's certainly improved our squad. And big up to Brian CFC. Thanks for the super chat. He says top four is a must after 1 billion plus spent. Yeah, I mean, you can't disagree with that, Kev.
Well, it's not what you spent; it's what you spent it on. Simple as that. We could have spent 2.5 billion and signed 50 kids from Brazil. Doesn't matter what you spent; it's what you spend your money on. And with that 1.5 billion, have we spent it correctly? No, I think we should have spent half of that £1 billion and investing back in that Champions League winning squad to get the players at the calibre, and spend the other half on these players on the side. We've gone out and signed players that haven't got the recognition in the Champions League. Like, look at Mikhailo Mudryk, go and sign in for £80 million, no Champions League policy. Like, there's players that have been there, done it in the Prem, that are better than Mikhailo Mudryk. Enzo Fernandez, for instance, £100 million, no Champions League experience. There's players, the Sagaloglu for Inter Milan, he's world-class midfielder, 28, 29 years old, a bit older, but we could probably got in for £40 million, £50 million. So, what are we expecting? I just feel like the signing players on the basis of if they get to a level, they won't lose money. They're not thinking like Enzo. We all know when we signed him, he had the potential to be a £100 million player. Is he a £100 million player? He hasn't proved it yet. So that's where the second of risk. If you've gone and got a Shagahoglu from Inter Milan, you know what you're getting with him. You know what you're getting.
I'm with you, Kev. I'm with you.
Proven Champions League.
All right, guys, we're going to get back on track with this article because there's other things that we're going to talk about as well. So for those of you who just come in, essentially Champions League football, missing out on it, we're losing 8.3% of our revenues every single year. That means that the drop in revenue means the forecasted losses before interest and taxes jump to 96.6 million from where they were last year, which was 78.6 million pre-tax and interest. One of the main drivers for the challenging outlook is that broadcast revenue is predicted to have fallen steeply, down 27.2% compared to the previous year, dropping from 259 million euros to 189 million euros. This fall has a direct correlation with missing out on the bountiful broadcast revenues that come with participation in the UEFA Champions League, and the lack of such revenues for the 24-25 season means that the financial challenges in the current financial year won't be easy to navigate. Now, there are some predictions for positive trends in the figures, with wages tipped to fall from 464.5 million euros to 432 million, which is a nice little cut there of over 30 million euros, while amortization costs are also expected to have dropped from 233.7 million euros to 190.2. Although those figures have still have Chelsea as having one of the highest amortization costs on their balance sheet in all of the European games. So the club's operating a loss, which stood at £218 million last season, is forecast, according to Off the Pitch, to increase to £222.5 million, highlighting the need for the club to turn around its on-pitch fortunes and return to the lucrative Champions League campaign. So, I mean, we'll just go, obviously, we've spoken about Champions League, Kev. We know how important that is. And the fact that we haven't been in the Champions League, you almost, although we call Leg Barley stingy and we know he's in it for the pound note, as some might say, we can say that we've done a tremendous job trimming down our wage structure. And I mean, if you look at the cut, I mean, that's over £30 million a year that we've saved on wages. And we've still managed to pin down Cole Palmer with a new contract extension. Nicholas Jackson signed a new deal as well. And we're still bringing in good players, some top players as well, on nice long deals with sustainable contracts as well.
Yeah, but it's risky. It's risky. It's good. It's decent.
It's incentivized. It's incentivized, isn't it? If you get in the Champions League, then they all get a nice pay rise. If you don't, then you get paid less.
Screwed. And then but we get left in a position where you've got players that you signed in on these long contracts, i.e. Mudryk, Enzo, that it's not worked out for them. What we're going to do then? The loss again, because you brought them in for so much. What team's going to pay 100 million?
I'm sure they're also on incentivized contracts. I think the only player who wasn't was Sterling, and maybe Carrera as well.
Then there's obviously players like Palmer and Jackson, what you'd make profit from, because we bought Palmer for £35 million, I think it was.
Oh, don't say it like that, Kev. We're not making profit. No. We're not selling Palmer.
No, mate. If we don't get Champions League in 2 seasons, do you think Palmer's going to want to stay around, bro?
Doesn't matter if Palmer wants to stay. We're not getting rid of Palmer.
Mate, if he wants to go, we'll go. Mate, listen, in 2 years' time, if we don't get, you'll find that players that, and King Q's already been speculated to want to go PSG next season. There's players that don't want to get out, brother, because do you think they want to be playing Europa Conference League, brother? Come on, bro. Do you think they want to be playing Panathinaikos on a Thursday night, bro?
I mean, Panathinaikos is a great atmosphere. I'll be totally honest with you, but I'm only taking the piss. But
you're playing not even a championship team. You're playing.
Actually, we're talking about Enzo Fernandez as well. I think he will play against Panathinaikos, and I think he'll play next to Dewsbury Hall. That's genuinely what I think is going to happen. I made a video on it, which will probably be uploaded maybe tomorrow, or maybe tonight. Actually, I might upload it tonight. I recorded it yesterday. And it's all about why the reality is Enzo Fernandez at the moment is just not good enough to start in our A team, if you want to call it that, because it's like an A and a B team. When you've got Lavia and Caicedo fit, they're always going to start ahead of him. I just think that's the harsh reality. It's not hate. It sounds like hate because you have to almost criticize Enzo to prove the point. But also you just appreciate the great players that you have around him, which highlights the depth that we have, that Lavia is there and you've got Caicedo there. I mean, you look at that Liverpool game, for example, I bring on Dewsbury Hall, mate, because I'll tell you why. Enzo was being asked to make runs into the box like a number 8, like he's Frank Lampard. Yeah, Dewsbury Hall is actually good at that. That's actually what he does. That's his position. That's his strength. I'm not saying he's a better player than Enzo Fernandez. We know he's not. But he's better in that position. He's better at doing that.
Better ball carrier. He's the best ball carrying player in the team. He can take that ball through the thirds as good as anybody in the Premier League. And I admit that. But in the same sense, the manager obviously had a plan to...
Sorry, when you say best ball carrier, are you talking about Enzo? Or
no, Dewsbury Hall.
Dewsbury Hall, right.
Dewsbury Hall is one of the best ball carriers in the team. But obviously the manager seen something in Enzo that he thought would make a difference in the game, and it clearly didn't work, because we could probably count on one hand how many times Enzo touched that ball in the final third. I think he had one good pass I can remember off the top of my head. So clearly the wrong decision. But this is the thing, when you've got £100 million player sat there on the bench, maybe it's people upstairs saying bring him on. Maybe it's not a managerial decision. You just never know. So the Enzo situation, Mudryk situation, it's hard to take. That's nearly £200 million of a talent that haven't worked out for us the last 2 seasons. And, you know, what can we do? But it's just going to be a loss if we look to get rid of them, because how long can we continue to say it's not worked? You know, 2 seasons under Abramovich, we wouldn't be getting this far down the line. If it's Andrei Shevchenko was Abramovich's good mate, he had one season and it didn't work for him. He paid 50 million. Where was he the season after that? Back at AC Milan, because he wasn't taking shit. You know what I'm saying? And this is the Chelsea that I grew up. Like we wouldn't. Doesn't really matter how much we paid for the player. It wasn't working. Look at Lukaku. We paid £90 million. Didn't work out. What happened? See you later. And this is the ruthlessness of Chelsea that we've seen. Now it's like sign him on 7-year contracts and sit him on the bench, and you know it's not good enough, bro. But only time will tell. But how much patience can we have with the model and the players that they've brought in for the prices that they've been brought for?
I'm with you on that. Yeah, there's another piece that come out not long ago, late last night, or actually early this morning, on Ben Chilwell. So Borussia Dortmund rejected an offer to sign Ben Chilwell from Chelsea in the summer. It's reported that Chelsea offered Ben Chilwell to Borussia Dortmund in the summer transfer window, but the Bundesliga club turned down the chance to sign the left back. They just decided not to go ahead with it. So, I mean, there were certainly options for Ben Chilwell. I know that Galatasaray was reported as well in Turkey, but it wasn't just them. It seems that Dortmund were also interested, and I guess that's a correlation to the Maatsen deal. They missed out on Maatsen. They decided not to sign him, and then Aston Villa did it. So they thought, you know, they did think about bringing in Ben Chilwell, but obviously it wasn't to be in the end. But he's not getting any more minutes for Chelsea. Surely he's got to go in January.
Yeah. Chilwell just needs to get fit so we can flog him off. The guy's got no fitness at all. It's clear to see. He would have put it like this: a player of a Champions League left back with European experience, international experience, with a big price tag, should be starting left back against Liverpool. Simple. He's played James right back, Augusto right back, Chilwell left back, over Viega. But there's got to be something that we're missing here, and it's clearly fitness. The guy has got no fitness. He cannot play 2-3 games without getting an injury again. So for me personally, it's a difficult one because he's just signed a new contract a couple of years ago, didn't he? So I'm sure he's got 5 years left on his contract. I'm sure, you know, big contract as well. I'm sure he's earning like what, 200k a week. I think 200k a week he's on.
Ben Chilwell is on roughly 200 grand. Yeah, I'd say just under 200 grand. So not quite as much.
Big contract. It's a difficult scenario because the player might not want to leave because other teams are not matching his contract. Fitness reasons, teams won't want to touch him because his fitness record the last couple of seasons. It's just it's a bad situation. For me personally, a loan would just suit all parties. Just get a loan for him. I think Man United, we're looking at left backs. Obviously, Luke Shaw's finished. Tyrell Martial, he's been out for the last year. They need a left back. They're playing Dallo, a right back, left back. Maybe negotiate something for United. Say, you know what? We've got Chilwell. Have him for the rest of the season. I don't know. A loan deal, just so you get some minutes in his legs. So get some minutes in this, get some confidence back. And if he it's a win-win. If he goes somewhere like that and he plays well, he could probably stay and rejuvenate his career next year. If he goes and does badly, we look to sell him on in the summer again. So it's just a win-win.
Yeah, I think it's over for Ben Chilwell. And I've heard from, I know people, I know this is totally random. I know people who went on holiday and they bumped into Ben Chilwell and basically they got chatting with him and he didn't say it directly. I'm not going to quote him, but it basically, they got the impression that from what he was saying and speaking to him, it's just that the ownership don't want anything to do with Abramovich, and any player that was a part of that, they just want to gut it all out. Now they've made a couple of exceptions, as we know, with Reece James,
James is one,
Cole, I guess, but yeah, that seems to be one of the main reasons he's going. It's just that they don't want anything to do with what Roman was doing, and also I'm sure the wages are a factor as well. You know, you've got to
it's all three situations in one. I feel like it's more of injuries. I feel you can't. We all know that they've stripped the club of its identity. This is not Chelsea from 3 years ago. This is the new Chelsea. Everything, not even the players have been stripped. People behind the scenes, the chefs, the groundskeepers, everything in that club has been changed from the wrong brother. We don't need Ben Chilwell to tell us they don't want anything to do with the Russians and what they was doing. Simple as that. Chilwell cannot make an excuse for the injuries he's been picking up. Look at his injury record the last 2 years. Maybe it's that. What do I want to get rid of you for? You're on 180k a week, and you can't play 3 games in a bounce without picking up injury. So that's the reason why we're getting rid of him, and it's good. The guy needs to go. I feel like a loan deal will do well for Chilwell. I think a loan deal to any Premier League team will do him well. So hopefully he can get some fitness, get his confidence back, and it's a win-win. If he comes back, he does well. If he doesn't, we can send him on in the summer.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, Kev. I'm with you. Listen, guys, I don't even know how many likes we're on, but I know that we should have close to sort of the 50 mark or around that mark. Can we get up to 70 likes? Let me know how many we're on, and let's see if we can get up to 70. If you haven't liked the video, please do. And without further ado as well, I am going to quickly give a shout out to Omaly, the sponsors. Come on, Kev. Listen, me and Kev, we've been on a couple of videos with Omaly, and it's basically an app where you can do what we're doing right now, but it's a football app designed for football fans to talk to other football fans. YouTube, you can speak with anyone about anything. Omaly is just for football, right? So the guy who founded Omaly is actually a Chelsea fan. He's a big Chelsea fan. Yeah, so the idea is that you come in, you speak to your favorite creators, and you can debate them. So there's a QR code on screen. Scan the QR code to download it. And there's also a link in the description. So if you click that link, you can download Omaly as well. It's totally free. You don't have to pay for it. So there's no money involved. And then you can connect with me. You can connect with Kev, as well as everyone else from Chelsea Fan TV. So let me know how you find it. Without further ado, let's get back into the video. Somebody's just said that we've got 17 likes. Come on, guys. Can we please get it up? Let's see if we can get up to 30 likes. Can we get up to 30?
Everyone watching, it doesn't cost you a penny. Remember, we're not asking you to give us a loan. We're not asking you to take your mum out for dinner. We're not asking you anything at all. Just see the little button there with the thumbs up. Just click it. Click. That's it. Just like, share, support. You know, that's what we're all about. Helping each other out. So please, to help the channel, click that like button, subscribe, share, get the views up, and you'll see more good content from myself and Alex.
All right. Big up to everyone. Right. So we go on to the next topic, which is this isn't specifically reported by the Daily Mail, as far as I'm aware, but this is one of the articles that's come up. Neymar has sent a message to Chelsea-bound Estavao Willian after the 17-year-old broke a record he set many years ago. The Blues officially announced the signing of the 17-year-old from Palmeiras in a £28 million deal that could rise to £55 million with add-ons back in May. The forward will join Chelsea in the summer after he turns 18, and he has continued to shine in his native Brazil, making history over the weekend. Estavao contributed a goal and assist in Palmeiras' 5-3 win over Juventude. I think I pronounced that right. On Sunday night, that took his goal contributions in Brazil's Serie A to this year to 18, becoming the most productive under-17 player in the league's history. Neymar's given him a shout out on social media, as you can see, congratulating him on breaking the record. The previous record was held by Neymar, who registered 16 goals and assists while playing for Santos in 2009. And Neymar's labeled Estavao previously as a future genius, and he's had nothing but support for his compatriot after hearing the news. So, I mean, Kev, listen, we have a star boy on our hands with Estavao Willian, just a top player. And I don't think anyone can really disagree, to be fair.
Yeah.
What he's been doing is
Mhm.
nothing short of sensational. And actually, what you just alluded to, and we joke about it all the time, all these young Brazilians we've signed,
Mhm.
we'd
He's
ended
one.
up signing the best young Brazilian. Now, you could say maybe
Hendrick.
Endrick, for example. We did actually try and get Endrick, but Madrid beat us to him. But listen, sometimes things happen for a reason, and we ended up getting Estavao. I think we can all still be very, very happy with that.
Yeah, 100%. That's one massive positive to come out of the way they've run the club. But like this, there's 101 positives and there's 101 negatives, and this is certainly a positive. I think him and Pendry and Paez, two absolutely amazing talents to come from South America that will be coming in. Estavao, I've seen clips of him. He reminds me of Robinho. If you ever heard of a player called Robinho,
Say it again.
heard of a player called Robinho. Robinho.
Oh,
Never heard
Rubinho.
of
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
The one
yeah.
who played for
So
Milan. Yeah. Yeah.
back in my day when I used to watch Real Madrid, Robinho, he reminds me of him the way he can stop that ball and move it quickly. He's so good. A bit like Willian as well in the way he can stop that ball and it's gone very, very quick with the way he scored quick step. He's really good at that. He's got an eye for goal, wicked left foot, can cut inside, eye for a pass. He's got everything, absolutely everything for a 17-year-old this guy's got. And I can only imagine him linking up with all the rest of them next season, linking up with Palmer, linking up with Neto, linking up with all the other talents we've got in those attacking areas. It's going to be exciting to watch, but we're going to have to be careful how we're going to fit them all in. I think there's going to be a couple of lads that need to go, i.e. Sterling's obviously going to go, Mudryk needs to probably go just to make space because this guy is definitely going to come in and he's going to want to get straight into that starting lineup straight away. There's no chance, there's no way at all that he'll want to be sitting behind or sitting on that bench, even though he's only 17. He'll want to come and make an impact straight away.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about Estavao is he's 2-footed as well. And I when I originally, because we got Pies as well coming in, a very different type of player. I'd say Pies is more like, if I had to compare, I mean, it's hard to compare, really, isn't it? Pies he's a left-footed player, very creative, good link-up play. Um, Almost, I guess if I was to compare him, I've only watched compilation, so it's hard to really judge. But I guess it's like a mixture of
Best
Enzo
moments.
Fernandez and Cole Palmer combined. That's what Pies looks like initially
Oh,
from what I've watched.
Paez, um,
He's very technical.
James Rodriguez. I'd like him.
Yes, good comparison.
James Rodriguez, wicked left foot, can receive the ball on the half turn. Is like the way he uses his body, a bit like James Rodriguez, I'd say, former Colombian attacking midfielder. So they've done good things bringing in these talents, but there's got to be more to it than that. When you're bringing in too many, where are you going to fit him in? And that's where I'm a bit, like, are these lads going to want to come and sit on the bench? I don't think they will do. So we've got to have a bit of an outtake before we bring them in because they're both looking to both be here and ready for next season, I believe. So we need to start planning for when we're going to, because these two players, we need to get them straight embedded into this first team because that's where they're going to make profits. I feel like they haven't brought them from a lot of money, but if you embed them into a team, build on the quality, you could be looking £150 million for both of them in a couple of years. So that's where it's good business in that aspect. So let's see where it takes us.
Yeah, I'm extremely optimistic about this guy. I think that the talents that we're bringing in, you don't see them for a long time, but they are very exciting. But it makes it more exciting knowing that they're going to be coming into a team that are improving every year. And say what you want, I mean, bloody hell. I was there with Potter. We were horrendous. I was there with Poch. We had some very bad days, but we had some good days as well. It was a more mixed season, I would say. And then this year we look the overriding, if I had to sum it up in one word, I would say we look very stable. We look like we know what we're doing. And that is a brilliant thing, because now hopefully we've built up a little bit of chemistry from last season. And now it's all about putting that chemistry into a system that we can count on and rely on, with a manager who knows what he's doing tactically. And Maresca seems to be performing very, very well. Did the guy on the left just get out of bed, lol?
Who's up,
No,
Leo?
I didn't. We've been on it for 45 minutes, my friend. Where have you been, Rui? Where have you been? But listen, there's also another piece of news regarding the WSL, actually. Chelsea boss Sonia Bompasta has called for an introduction of Goalline Technology in the WSL. It comes after a 5-2 win at Tottenham, which was marred by a lack of Goalline Technology, with the Chelsea women's manager calling for the implementation of Goalline Technology, because there was a controversial goal awarded against Chelsea in that win. So even though we thrashed Tottenham, there still seems to be a talking point about VAR. I mean, what do you think about it in terms of technology in the women's game? I mean, is it something that we need to think about?
Nah. No offense to the women's football. I'm going to be investing a lot of my coaching time into women's football. I'm going to be going through some stuff with women very shortly. So I can't be on the fence of women's football, this and that. I have to be very bold with it. I just feel like the 20 years behind the men's game. I just don't feel like there's any need for it. They are a long way from it, and it's proven to see with the pay they get, the crowds they bring in, the money it generates. It's nowhere near it. Like, I couldn't tell you any results from the WSL weekend because I just don't follow it. It's not me.
Chelsea versus Tottenham.
Yeah. Well, you just said.
Come on, lads. We must be top of the table now, right? We've got to be top of the table in the WSL. I'll look that up for you.
I know we beat Real Madrid a few weeks ago, but that's it. I don't follow it. It hasn't got that profile yet for me to be like Goalline Technology VAR is good for the Premier League because it's got that profile, the controversy of the VAR and that, because it's all over the papers. I don't think anyone cares about the goal what Chelsea conceded against Tottenham. Does anyone really care? Who scored the goal for Tottenham? Nobody knows. So I feel like it's good that she's mentioning these kind of things, but it's a long way off. I think the good 10, 20 years away from catching the men's game. It probably a lot further than that. So until they get up to speed with equal pay, bringing in the correct amount of fans. Okay, they don't even play at Stamford Bridge because they can't even fill a quarter of it on a match day. Until all these boxes are ticked, then they can start using VAR, but they'll only be using VAR for their own personal reasons, not for the fans, because they haven't really got any.
I'm with you, mate. I'm with you. So yeah, if you look at the WSL, we're actually second behind Man City, and then you got Man United as well. But we've got a game in hand over Man City. So if we win, even with a draw, to be fair, we'll go top of the table. So we're looking very, very strong. We've inherited a good side from Emma Hayes. I've actually been invited to. Which game is it? I've been invited to, I think it's the Man City game in the WSL at Stamford Bridge in November. So someone DM me, a guy that I know. Well, I've never actually, I might have met him once or twice, but I don't really know. I don't know if I've met him more than that. But yeah, he just DM'd me and said, Alex, do you want a ticket to one of the women's games? And I said, sure, why not? I will be going.
I'd like to go see the girls' football as well, to be fair.
I went to the FA Cup final a few years ago when we beat Man City, and Sam Kerr and a couple of other players were playing in there. Look, it's a growing game, isn't it, Kev? That's the truth of it. It's a growing game. It's certainly not going backwards. You know,
it's growing, but very, very slow. It's because the men's game's that dominant. The women's game it will never, ever come anywhere close to it. But the exposure of it's getting bigger. I think the last Euros when Spain beat us in the final. people's going. I would never ever go to Abuja to watch it. And when England played Spain, I was in Spain at the time. I actually went out and I went to go and watch it. So the exposure is getting there. I think obviously with Ultimate Team, so even Ultimate Team on FIFA, women's footballers playing with men's footballers. I'm even knowing women's football because they are getting exposure, but it's still a long away. It's a long way away because the players are not good enough. If you go and watch a women's game, it's like watching a Sunday league game. Not Sunday league, but I'll probably say semi-pro. It's like watching a semi-pro English men's game. That's the level of the WSL. So how can you expect people to go and pay £30 for a ticket when you can just go and watch? I could go and watch League Town down the road for £5 and still get a better game than WSL.
It's brutal.
It's facts, bro. It's the physicality of the women's game is not there. They don't really put the bodies on the line. Like technically, they're really good. Technically, a couple of them could probably shine in the men's game. Like Lauren James, for one, I think she'd shine at most levels. I think she'd probably do well in the bottom half of the Prem. She's that good, but that's just one out of 10,000 women footballers. It's imagine you put a women's football into a men's game. Imagine who can I say? Erling Haaland versus Beth Mead. She's a centre back. Imagine Haaland just knocking her off the ball. Like it's just not right, bro. It's Adama Traore versus whoever. It's just the physicality is not there, but technically it's improving and the exposure's getting there. But VAR and all that stuff, I don't think anyone's interested in it. Only people that watch women's football, and that's just a fraction of the popularity.
Yeah, I think Rue makes a good point as well. When the money and revenue increases in the women's game, so will the wages and the technology, and it's like that for anything. Yeah, I mean, also there's got to be a lot of coverage because the pressure to bring VAR into the men's game. I think a lot of it was media coverage, and if the women's game's not getting that coverage, then they're not putting any pressure on whoever's regulating that league and making the rules to actually change anything. I mean, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That's what they say. And if nobody says it is, then why would they change it? Guys, I'm not sure how many likes we're on. Last time I checked, I think you said we were on about 24. Can we go up to 40? If we're on over 40 likes, can we get to 50? So smash that like button if you haven't already. It does help massively. And yeah, let us know how many likes we're on as well, because I can't actually see. Hugh says we're on 30. We need 10 more likes, people. There are 40 of you in here. So just 10 more likes, please. That would be fantastic. Hugh says maybe we can get a woman who's...
Mate, it's not, we're not long away from seeing that. We are not long away from seeing a bloke who's a tranny and is just going to play football and he's going to end up knocking 3 shades of shit at players. I can see it happening. We've seen it in the boxing.
I don't think they would allow that to happen. I don't think
bro,
they would
they allowed a man to do boxing in the Olympics, bro. So anything's possible, bro. Anything's possible now. They allowed a man racer to run in the women's game in the Olympics, and he was a tranny and he was running with women. So
maybe don't use that word, Kev. Maybe don't use. I don't know if that. Maybe I don't.
Oh, sorry. What's the word? I don't know what the politically.
I don't know what the word is either. But
I don't know. I don't know
you get cancelled for everything, Kev.
It's a tranny. That's what it is.
I don't think we should say that though. There's probably a better term that.
Okay.
Someone who has transitioned.
A cross-gender, let's say.
Okay. Maybe something like that.
Maybe he's cross-gendered.
I mean, personally, Kev, I'm not bothered by it, but I think there might be one person watching him.
We're only 10. We don't want to offend. Yeah, we're only 10 years away from seeing a few men playing in the WSL. That's how it goes. Seriously, it's going to happen, but
we can't let that. That's not good for the game, mate. That's not good. That's not good. Listen, before we wrap it up, let's just touch on what we've spoken about, and if you have any questions as well in the chat, let us know, and we will answer your questions as well. So, Kev, just reiterate and summarize what we've gone through. Chelsea are due to record a loss of £97 million because of the lack of revenues and broadcasting money that has reduced since we've not been involved in the Champions League. On average, it's about 8% that we're losing every year in terms of revenue, not being in the Champions League. So it's making a huge difference. And the longer you go without it, that 8% turns into 16%, which turns into 24%. These are big numbers. And while our numbers are getting smaller, Arsenal's numbers are getting bigger. Man City's are getting bigger. Liverpool's are getting bigger. So we need to close that gap. It is so important. And we talk about revenue as well. We don't have a big stadium compared to those guys. So we're already at a disadvantage having 20,000 less seats than Arsenal and all these other teams because they actually, a lot of them have higher ticket prices than we do and 20,000 more seats. If you're United, it's 35,000. So we've got to be really careful that we don't get dragged into this hole of not actually being able to get back into the Champions League. But I think we'll be okay. I think that we can do it this year. I think the main issue though will be injuries. If we can prevent those injuries, then we'll be in a good position.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I feel like the football on the field is the most important thing. There's a lot of teams are taking losses. I think Man City were only one of the only teams that provided profit. But obviously, there's teams that are doing stuff that we've been doing, finding loopholes to provide that extra bit of income on the books. So I'm not too concerned about it. It's obvious that we were going to be recording a loss. When you're 3 seasons without Champions League football, it's going to happen. So the key thing for me is right now is getting the stuff right in the field. Injuries, winning games, getting back Champions League football, and then hopefully next season we can regain that £50 million. As well as that sponsorship, can we get a sponsor on the front of our shirt? That will generate income. There's little things that a club should be doing as basics. Just do the basics, Chelsea Football Club, and maybe that £97 million will be a lot more or less next year.
I'm with you. And then, yeah, we spoke about Estavao, Willian as well, breaking Neymar's record, the most productive player in the Brazilian Serie A division, scoring, I think it's 18 goals or 17 goals. He's getting massive praise from Neymar as well. Well deserved. And yeah, I mean, listen, guys, we're going to round it out there. Big up to everyone that's been in the chat. Listen, if you haven't given a thumbs up, please do. It helps massively as well. And if you want to check out Omni while you're gone, we're going to finish up. There's a QR code here. Scan that QR code. Download Omni. There's a link in the description as well. I promise you guys, it is actually a decent app. You don't have to pay for it. Me and Kev are going to be live on there. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see what happens. When are we going to go, Kev?
Probably tomorrow.
Probably tomorrow. We'll be live on that tomorrow. I'll do a couple of shows with Charlie, Lewis, and we'll also get Nina in there as well. But apart from that, all the best, and we will see you very soon.
That was good timing.
Yeah. Hang on.